When you hear the word infidelity, your mind probably jumps straight to, well, personal stuff, right? But what if I told you that in the world of public service, it means something completely different? Something that can literally tear apart the very fabric of our justice system. That's what we're diving into today. We're going to break down the three main ways a public officer can commit this, what you could call the ultimate professional sin, a betrayal of the sacred trust we place in them. So let's just ask the big question right off the bat. What is a public officer's most sacred duty? I mean, yeah, enforcing laws, managing resources, all of that is super important, but all of it, every single part of their job, rests on one single principle: fidelity. And now, we're not talking about loyalty to a boss or a political party. This is a much deeper, unwavering loyalty to us, the public. And when that trust gets broken, well, the whole system starts to wobble. And that's what brings us right to the legal definition here. So first things first, forget everything you think infidelity means. In this world, for a public officer, it's the ultimate professional sin. It's about failing, either on purpose or through carelessness, to protect what we, the public, have put in their hands. And as we're about to see, that trust really comes in three critical flavors: guarding people, protecting documents, and keeping secrets. All right, let's jump into the first major betrayal, the unlocked cage. This one is probably the most concrete, the most, well, tangible. We're talking about infidelity when it comes to keeping prisoners in custody. This is where an officer's failure can have some really immediate and, frankly, dangerous consequences. Okay, so when it comes to this, the law gets really specific about the mindset of the officer. It's a huge deal. On one hand, you've got Article 223. This is about a deliberate act. Think of the guard who knowingly, willingly lets a prisoner escape. They're basically unlocking the gate and holding it open. It's active, it's intentional. Then you've got Article 224, which is all about a careless failure. This is the guard who falls asleep on the job or forgets to lock a door. It's inexcusable negligence. Now, the end result might be the same. A prisoner is on the loose, but believe me, the law sees the intent, or lack thereof, as two completely different things. And as you'd expect, those two different mindsets lead to two wildly different sets of consequences. Look at this. An officer who intentionally helps a convicted person escape, we're talking up to 6 years in prison. And they could be permanently, and I mean permanently, barred from ever holding public office again. Their career? Toast. But for a negligent escape, the penalty is a lot lower. The message from the law couldn't be clearer. A mistake is one thing, and it's serious. But a deliberate betrayal? That's seen as a direct attack on the entire justice system. And here's a really interesting point. This duty, this fidelity, it doesn't just stop with official public officers. Article 225 makes it clear that even a private citizen who's been entrusted with custody, say a private security guard moving a detainee, they can face similar charges if they mess up and let someone escape. It really goes to show you, this isn't about the uniform you're wearing. It's all about the formal responsibility you've accepted. All right, so that's the first betrayal, the one involving people. Now let's move on to the second one, the compromised document. I know, it might not sound as dramatic as a prison break, but trust me, in the world of government and justice, the integrity of a piece of paper can be every bit as critical. So, according to Article 226, there are three main ways an officer can betray this trust. First, they can just straight up remove a document without any authority. Picture someone snatching a key piece of evidence out of a case file. Gone. Second, they can conceal it. Imagine hiding a public land title just to block a sale. And third, well, they can just destroy it. Rip it up, shred it, burn it. Each one of these actions is basically sabotage. It's a deliberate attempt to obstruct how our government is supposed to work.
And just like we saw with prisoners, the punishment is designed to fit the crime. Messing with a document is already a serious offense, but look at this. The potential sentence absolutely skyrockets. We're talking from around 4 years all the way up to 12 if what they did causes serious damage to the public interest. So, for example, shredding the one piece of evidence in a massive corruption investigation, yeah, that's going to cost you. The bigger the harm to all of us, the higher the price they're going to pay.
Now, Article 227 zooms in on a very specific act, breaking an official seal. You've got to understand, a seal on a box of evidence or a confidential file isn't just a piece of tape. It's the government's official promise, its guarantee that whatever is inside is secure and untampered with. So when an officer breaks that seal, they're not just breaking tape, they are shattering that official guarantee of security. Then there's Article 228, which covers something slightly different but just as important: opening a closed document, even if it doesn't have one of those official seals. So think about an officer who's in charge of sealed bids for a big government contract. If they sneak a peek and open them before they're supposed to, they've just betrayed the trust that those contents would be kept secret. So here's the key takeaway. Breaking a seal is all about compromising an item's security. Opening a document, that's about violating its confidentiality. See the difference? It's subtle but crucial.
Okay, so we've covered people, we've covered papers. This third betrayal, well, this one might be the most insidious of all, mainly because it's completely intangible. You can't hold it in your hand. We're talking about the betrayal of secrets, the leaking of confidential information.
And again, the law is very specific. It actually protects two totally different kinds of secrets. First, Article 229 deals with public secrets. This is stuff like the details of an ongoing police investigation or national security intel. If that stuff gets out, it could seriously harm the public interest. But then you have Article 230, and this one is about protecting private secrets. This is confidential information about you or me as a citizen, things like our medical records or financial details that an officer learns because of their job. Leaking that kind of information isn't just a breach of duty, it's a deep personal violation of someone's privacy. And this really gets to the heart of a fundamental paradox, a real tension at the core of public service. A public officer's own actions, those demand transparency. We have a right to know what they're doing. But when it comes to our information, the information of the citizens they serve, their office demands the complete opposite, absolute confidentiality. It's like they have to be a totally open book about themselves, while at the same time acting as a locked vault for the secrets of everyone else. That is a massive responsibility. So let's pull it all together. We've looked at the three major types of betrayal, of people, of documents, and of secrets. Now let's take a step back for a second and look at the really big picture here. Why do these laws matter so much? Why is fidelity, this idea of loyalty to public trust, why is it everything?
Well, it's because these laws aren't just a random list of rules. They are the actual pillars holding up the entire structure of public trust. Think about it. When an officer does their job and keeps a prisoner secure, they are literally upholding justice and public safety. When they protect a document, they are guaranteeing accountability. And when they keep a secret safe, they're protecting the integrity of their office and our government as a whole. Every single act of fidelity makes those pillars stronger, and every act of infidelity, no matter how small it seems, puts another crack in that foundation.
At the end of the day, these laws are the government's answer to betrayal. They're the essential tool we have for accountability. They draw the lines, they define what's wrong, and they spell out the consequences. But here's the thing about a tool. It's only effective if someone actually picks it up and uses it. And that requires all of us, the public, to be watching, to be vigilant, and to demand that those pillars of trust stay strong. Which really just leaves us with one final, and maybe most important question. What is our role in demanding that accountability?